Hey, hey, scapers, renegades. It's your favorite painter. I don't know if I'm your favorite, but I'm a painter. That painting guy, Louie, and I'm. I forgot what my name was for a minute. Louie, that's my name. Welcome back to Mini Monday. Sorry we missed last week. Scheduling conflicts and all that good stuff. But we're back. We're back today with Mini Monday, and we're painting this beautiful bear right here, Mr. Adelbern. And I'm super excited because he's the last bear I need to paint for my bear army. Bears are by far my favorite characters from, or units from AOA. Well, that's not necessarily true. I really like pirates. I like Dorum, because I like dwarves. I like the big dragons. Anyway, that's not what we're doing. We're painting this guy today. So I have painted all of my other bears, and I'm going to be referencing them because I want to make sure that this bear matches all of my other bears. And another good thing about that is you can kind of see what the final product's going to look like since we are going, we're kind of starting from scratch here. So the miniature is primed in black with a very heavy white dry brush over top of it. That part is completely optional, and in hindsight, I myself wouldn't do it because I'm not going to end up using speed paints or contrast paints on him. I tend to do that a lot lately, so I've gotten into the habit of priming my miniatures in black, doing all of this, doing this heavy dry brush, and then hitting it with some contrast paints and stuff. I'm not doing that, so yeah, hindsight, shouldn't have done that. So let's go ahead and get started on bears. First thing I'm gonna do is the pants. When I paint, I try and start from the innermost space and work my way outward. In this case, that would be the fur. However, I want to do the pants first because I want to. No other reason other than that. So we're going to start with Celestial Gray, which I forgot to get out. There it is. Celestial Gray. It's like a bluish gray. I like it a lot. I use it for the pants. So let's go ahead and throw some of that on my palette. Top right of your screen, you will see my palette cam. That's this guy up here. For reference, right here we've got some, I think this is Wraithbone here, and this is Bugman Glow. So just for reference, if you're like, what are those colors? That's what those colors are. That's from, I'm painting this mini, which is a repaint of a classic, as a tournament prize or a giveaway or whatever for my locals. So kind of started working on that, didn't get very far. So here's my Celestial Gray. We're gonna hit those pants, hit the pants with the Celestial Gray. There's an armor plating right here. I'm gonna paint that. I'm going to paint that with a bronze color, again to kind of match the other bears that I've already painted. I think it's the new bears, the harpoon bears. I think that they also have like that metal skirt or comma around their armor plating. So we're gonna not get enough of this on the palette. So Celestial Gray, one of the things that I liked using it for with bears is with a brownish shade, a wash from Army Painter. And we'll see the final product. It doesn't look anything like gray once we're done, which is cool. So this is our base coat, but we're not actually painting the pants gray, or they won't be gray when we're done. And the reason for that mostly is not because I don't like the gray, it's because the gray is a little too close to the color of the fur. And I really want the fur to stick out. I've noticed at local events, people who aren't into Scape and they're not playing Scape, but they're at the store or whatever, and they come over and they're like, oh, what's this game? One of the main things that I've noticed is attracting people. Obviously, dragons, right? You get a big dragon on the board. It's going to attract eyes. People are going to see a dragon from across the room. But the bears, man, the bears are a big hit. Bears are a big hit. And this particular bear right here, if you know, you know. He is very, very good. Especially with those Frostclaw Paladins. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. So we need to make sure that all of the bears have an amazing paint job. No skimping on... Even like with the harpoon bears, you know, bears that I know won't see a ton of, you know, table time. At least not right now, until they get a little better. But even those bears, they're bears. And so I needed to give them the bear treatment. I'm not being super careful right now. I'm just kind of trying to block in my colors. I'm not going to be upset if I get anything on any other colors, because this is my first color, and because I'm not using any contrast, it's okay, I can just go over it. This is just a longer process. All right, I think maybe his pants are good. If I need to do a touch-up later, I can. All right. Alright, so we got that Celestial Gray down on his pants. Yeah, there we go. On his pants. Alright, now we're going to start blocking in the fur. That's obviously the second most important thing behind his armor. I shouldn't say his armor is more important. His armor is more... Whoa. There's his armor, you know what I mean? So for the fur, we're going to use Althuan Gray. Another kind of bluish gray. It's going to be a good color for the fur. I always put too much on the palette. I'm a little trigger happy with the paint sometimes. Oh no, that's not good. Okay, so I got some of the Bugman's Glow in my white. So I gotta bring the white down here a little more. Whew. I'm failing at getting a proper amount of paint on my palette. Alright. And then we just start blocking in the white. So when painting with white, sometimes it tends to get chalky. So a couple things that you can do about that. One, you can learn to live with it, which sometimes I do. The proper thing to do, though, is to make sure that your paints are really, really thin, which means multiple coats, which when live streaming makes things difficult because you need to let things dry. But because we have such a large surface space with with the armor paneling, I'm okay if it's a little thinner, because it can dry while we're working on the armor. It's going to take a minute to block in all the armor. Another thing that you could do is if you have some silver, assuming that you want to paint the armor silver, and you have silver spray paint, it's totally reasonable, because this figure is primarily covered in armor, for you to prime it in silver, and then that way you save yourself the trouble of having to base coat the silver. I don't necessarily recommend it. This, like, as far as your paint, the paint job, the finished product, the quality will be better if you go this route. It's just going to take you a little longer. And you don't have to use Althuan Gray. You could use straight white. The reason that I don't use straight white is because when I get to my actual, like, highlighting step, and I go through and I highlight each individual blade of fur, I'm gonna want to do that with a brighter color to give that really nice pop, you know? So I save the white for that final touch, the pure white. So that's why I go with Althuan Gray, personally. It's honestly, like, to the naked eye, there's probably not much of a difference, if any. I've just been working with Althuan Gray for a very long time. One of the first paint colors I ever got. Not that bottle. I bought other bottles, but that's the first paint color I bought. Off of the recommendation of a YouTuber, actually. And yeah, it's my jam. There's certain colors that I just can't imagine not having in my painting arsenal. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about, like, you know, reds and stuff like that. Like, obviously, you know, you need red and, you know, all those colors, but there's a few go-tos that I just use constantly. Probably every miniature gets one of those colors on there. Althuan Gray is just one of them. Funnily enough, the other, one of the other pink colors that I can't live without is also gray. And that would be German gray from Vallejo. So if you're just joining us, welcome. We are painting Adelbern. He is going to be a white polar bear. I have seen other people like paint them like Care Bears. I've seen people paint them as like grizzly bears. I've seen pink bears. I've seen blue bears. Basically, I've seen all different kinds of bears. And I kind of like the idea of having them not be polar bears. Not for me in this situation because I've already painted all of my other bears polar bears. So, and to be honest, I didn't think about painting them as any other color bear until I saw other people do it, and I was like, dang, that's a good idea. Again, not being super careful in this spot because I'm about to go over all of the armor pieces, and also all of the straps. I'm gonna go over the straps as well. Let's see, where was I painting? Oh, up here. So I got different straps, different strap colors. I'm gonna have like leather straps, like brown leather straps, but I'm also gonna have blue straps. Primarily blue, but having a couple leather straps here and there really pops. And I can show you an example of that in just a moment. Let's see, what's new in the Scape world for me? I don't think I've streamed since the last event that I went to. So I went to an event, I guess it was 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. Let me try and remember the format. So the format was 700, I think. I think it was 700 Delta points. And there was a unit restriction, so you could only choose like one of, maybe it was one of each of the A or like the S tier characters. So like if you took Raylan, like OG Raylan, you couldn't then also take like Morrow Warriors or, you know, Q9 or whatever. So there was that restriction. There was like a 10-figure limit So lots of uniques on the board. And every army was allowed to have Rhaegarn, I believe is how his name is pronounced. He's a custom unit, very cool character, who basically can move an order marker, essentially. There's restrictions to it, like it has to be so far, etc., etc. So what makes it good, especially in an army where it's mostly uniques, is let's say you put an order marker on a character that then dies. You can use his ability to move the order marker of the dead character to a character that's not dead, which is most commonly what it was used for in the event. From what I saw, from like the people that I played against and stuff. And I didn't play particularly well. Well, it's not that I didn't play well. It's just I didn't. The dice were not in my favor. That's for sure. So I didn't do well overall. But I had a good time. My army was. Let's see if I can try and remember. It was Frostclaw Paladins. It was Alistair McDirk, our little Scottish friend. It was OG Raylan for the defense buff. I had Isamu as my point filler. Trying to remember what else I had. Frustrated because I can't remember. Cayman Awa, which is what I built the list around, was to use him because he's one of my favorite characters, and he actually failed me big time. But Alistair with the Frostclaw Paladins is gross. That combo, that's just not polite. That's just like, it's just mean. It's not friendly. You definitely don't use it during your house games where you're trying to teach your 5-year-old how to play the game. That's for sure. It's pretty mean. So let's say, so it was Cayman, Bears, Alistair, Raylan, Isamu, maybe that was it, but that seems light. It doesn't seem like everything that I had. But maybe it is. Like I said, I didn't do particularly great, so I played fine. I think I just had some unlucky rolls, and I made a couple silly decisions, and that was all she wrote. Alright, so all the white is pretty much blocked in here. Ooh, that's not white at all. I gotta put in some of this in another spot on the palette, because that spot is contaminated. out his feet. He's got a little fur sticking out the bottom of his pants, too. Which, I just love that little detail. All the other bears have it, too. If anybody out there has played with the harpoon bears, I'm curious how. I feel like there's a strategy or something that I'm missing, because they seem very difficult to use. Yeah, they seem quite challenging to use, and maybe it's just because maybe I'm missing an obvious strategy somewhere. You know what I mean? So I'm curious if you're out there in TV land watching and you've used those harpoon bears. I don't know why I can't think of their actual name. I know they're not called harpoon bears. I'm just going around trying to find maybe some fur I missed, or something that's not filled in well. The next step is when I'll start to have to be a little more careful, because I'm going to start blocking in big chunks of this metal armor, but I don't want to get it on the white, so I'm just kind of letting myself be sloppy right now, just in the interest of time. Just going around and making sure that it's mostly filled in. We're gonna put a wash over it, so if there's some spots that aren't perfect, that's okay. Alright, now we're going to move on to the armor. Lots and lots of armor. Alright, so for armor, what I've been doing with my bears, let's go ahead and grab a couple here off to the side. So what I've been doing with my bears here, here's Irene. I've been using black metal, or what is this? This is a dark metal? Dark silver. And I've been painting all of the armor in that dark silver, and then I've been going around and putting highlights and stuff in places to make things pop a little more. But you can see here the pants, like this is that's that gray. Oh, look at the little drool hanging off of her mouth there. Pretty happy with that. Let's see, here's another one that shows the armor really well. So that's that dark silver with then like some lead belcher highlights. So it's kind of the effect that we're going for. Okay. Here's another one. All right. So let's grab that dark silver. It's a Pro Acryl paint. Highly recommend. It's my go-to now. I'm gonna block in most of the silver with this, or most of the armor. Tends to be a little on the thick side, so I'm gonna add a little teeny tiny bit of thinner, microscopic amount. Right. Start blocking in some armor here. Look how good that color looks. It's so good. This is one of those colors I couldn't imagine not having. Now that I know it exists, highly, highly recommend you having it in your painting arsenal. And I'm sure that there are other companies that make a dark silver, so I'm not necessarily saying you have to get the Pro Acryl. I don't have any experience with anything except for the Pro Acryl stuff. I think I'm gonna block all this in, at least to give it. I'm gonna cover all this up with bronze, I think. So the only reason I'm really doing this is to put some color in the back there. It'll make sense once I get to that part. But I've kind of already mapped out in my head where like the colored accents and stuff are gonna Look how cool that color is. I can't get over how good that looks. See, like he's got this. He's, to me, it looks like a comma or some kind of cloth. But I actually on these bears, I made it look like metal. So you can see I've got that bronze accent underneath, and I personally I think it looks crazy good. So I'm gonna do it on this one. I'm gonna be so sad when I'm done painting this mini because that means there's no more bears to paint. Renegade, please give us more bears. I know people want stuff that isn't bears because, you know, everybody wants more common units and more stuff that like synergizes with older units. But Louie wants more bears. More bears and more dwarves, please. Speaking of Louie, little shameless plug while we got you here at The Real Daddy Louie up in the top right corner there of your screen. Go check out my Instagram and follow my page because that is where I post pictures first. Yeah, all that stuff. But I actually end up posting photos before I put them on Instagram on the in some of the Discords. So if you're not part of any of the various Discord channels that there are for Heroscape, you should go join them, and you'll see some of my finished minis then in those places. So when it comes to painting these metal plates and stuff, one thing that I can't stress enough is if you really want to add... how do I word this? So when you're done painting all of these armor panels, silver or whatever color you decide to paint them, you'll take a step back and you'll see that most of the mini is either white or metal. There's not a lot of variation because really the only clothes he has are his pants and you can't really see them. So in order to make the miniature more interesting to look at, you have to give accents or emphasize accents on the armor so that it doesn't just look like straight, silver plating. And one of the cool things about this miniature is a lot of those accents that you're going to make to give some character to the armor plating is already there. So Renegade, the sculpt that we have here, for this character actually has accents that we can paint different colors to really make the armor pop. And that's what we're gonna do. And you don't need a ton of different colors. Like, you don't, you know what I mean? Like, you have to find a balance. Personally, with the bears, I like sticking to just like 2 or 3 colors. Again, I really just, you know, from a distance, I want that fur to pop. I want people to go, oh yeah, those are polar bears. You know, you're gonna be able to see them from a mile away because that fur is gonna really pop. And for me, the way that I do it, like I said, is I personally hand paint each blade of fur. Oh, I froze. Okay, there we go. So you can see there, but look how, I mean, it just pops, you know? I don't know how else to say it. It just pops. Just pops. But we're not there yet. And that's definitely not something that you need to worry about, especially if you're a beginner. That's just, you know, that's just what I'm gonna do. Probably one of the easier ways to do it, one of the more common ways that I'm seeing people to do it, or seeing people do it, is the dry brush method, which I will explain to you. So in this case, actually, you know what? We're not quite there yet. I'll explain the dry brush method when we get to the part that the dry brush method you use. And these straps here that connect the back and the front, I'm going to paint those blue to match the blue on my other bears. How we doing out there, TV land? If you wanted to make your armor plating a different color, if you didn't want to use silver, let's say you wanted to use blue, or maybe you wanted your armor plates to be blue, you can totally take your silver and start adding a little bit of the color you want the armor to be, and you know, you could get a really nice blue metallic from combining, you know, a light blue and some silver together. I have a blue metallic from scale 75 that I use as an accent color for some of the like spikes and stuff on some of the other bear armor. But if you don't have that and you wanted to, you know, it's a little easier to come by, you know, straight silver than metallic blue. This light up a little bit. Keep hitting the light with my, you know, this thing. The thing in my hand that I use to paint. Paintbrush, thank you. His armor plates are really cool. See, like he has this leather strap that has a buckle and it connects this here. I might paint that leather like brown. I don't know yet. On the other ones, I think trying to remember. I painted all the straps blue on the other bears, except for the leather straps on the cannons, or the harpoon guns, whatever they are. I'm taking a few liberties. I'm not, you know, I have the box art and I have a picture of the pre-painted. So I have that reference, but that's not exactly what I'm following. I'm keeping to those references, but I'm taking a lot of liberties. Obviously, there's no bronze, and I'm gonna use a lot of bronze on this mini. I'm just not there yet. That's coming. That's next. Actually, might do the blue next, and then do the bronze, just so I can see these leather straps, or these armor straps. But like when people have looked at my harpoon bears, one of the biggest compliments that I get about them is how those brown leather straps like really make stuff pop. So I need to try and figure out a way to incorporate that in all of the bears. But my bears have evolved over time. Like, they don't look the same as they did when I first painted them. The more I use them, like, in the game, the more, like, I just want to evolve the look of them. Sorry, I realized I was bringing it to my face. I wasn't bringing my face to it. The one thing that's nice is I only have to paint one bear. When I did the squads, obviously I had to do 3 and 4. That was what was nice about Irene, is she was just, you know, by herself. I feel like you can really when I'm painting like a squad, I tend to get sloppy, you know, because you reach a certain point where you're like kind of done, you know, you're over it. You're painting 4 bears, you're like, okay, you know, let's move on to something else. So you tend to, at least me anyway, I tend to get sloppy towards the end, because by then I'm just done. That's why I've kind of elevated the game a little bit. Ooh, it's a tight little space there. It's a cool helmet. I'm not 100% sure yet what I'm gonna do as far as this power hammer chainsaw. we get it all? Did we get all the silver? Did I miss any places? I need to switch my brush. This brush has about had it. Did anybody do anything wild with their hammer mallet thing? See, there's like you can't see the straps that, like the little clips where the straps would go, like you can see there, like the straps would connect to those hooks, but the straps aren't there. Probably because they're behind fur. It just looks like the armor piece is just floating on there, though. It's a little weird. I thought about maybe just drawing a strap, but I think that would look bad. So I'm not going to do that. Did I miss any metal? No. Okay. Okay, let's grab some blue. The blue that I've been using is Calidor Sky from Citadel. It's a nice, real nice blue color. Just using it as a base. Instead. Really nice blue color. I wonder if you could purposefully paint your miniatures to look to like camouflage into the table, and then if your opponent forgets that the character is there because they can't see him, it's not your fault, right? Is there rules against how you can paint your miniatures? Can I just paint them all black? And just, you know, hope that my opponent just forgets that they're there. Just a couple straps under here. There's a little strap right here. So that's one of the things about this bear, right? Is that there's a lot of surface area that needs to be painted. They're big, chonky. know about that being blue. I think I might paint that a different color. I'm not really a fan of that, to be honest. I thought I would like it, and I don't. So, we're gonna undo that. Blue. I don't know about these straps. I mean, the one under the arm, that's very visible. The other ones are not. Ugh. I don't know, man. I don't know. Man, this one might end up being a two-parter. There's just so much surface space to paint. I'm also probably being a little too careful. But I already told you guys how I feel about the bears, so I need to make sure they are pristine. what to do about those straps, you guys. Like, you'd have been able to see that strap. This strap I can probably cover up. But this strap, it's so very obvious. I kind of want to go online and look at other people's Adelbern and see what they did. I'm very curious what people are doing with this strap. Sorry. I'll just pretend like it's not there for now. Pretend like it's not there. Almost got into a fight yesterday, like for real. I'm just gonna tell you guys stories. Yeah, so almost got into a fight yesterday, so I drove to go help a friend move. And we get to, my wife was driving. So we get to their house, and they said, go park in the street. Okay, no problem. So we gotta park in the street. We find a spot. We park. We're getting out of the car. Another car pulls up, and they said, hey, I live right there. Pointed to the house that we were parked in front of. Would you mind... actually, it wasn't would you mind. Can you move your car somewhere else? Because I live right there. And my wife, being the lovely lady that she is, she said, oh, sorry, I didn't see the sign. Of course, there was no sign because it was a public street. And she said the woman ended up saying something back to my wife, very, very snarky, and words that I can't repeat on here. And the woman got an attitude and just kind of like started yelling. Like, well, I'm not going to stand there and let you yell at my wife like that. So I started yelling back. And then she went to go get her fiance. And I was like, peace out. I'm leaving now. It's like, it's serious. It's not that serious. But, I mean, that's not exactly how it went down, but that's the story that I'm going to tell on the internet. Because there was a lot more bad words and yeah, it was not a pleasant experience, but all good. I ended up having a great day, so that lady clearly was not, so whatever. But yeah, it was just kind of funny. The whole rest of the day we're like just talking like, what happened? Like, exactly. It was just kind of crazy. Yeah, alright, so now we're gonna... Let's see, what are we gonna do next? I think we're gonna do those accents that I was mentioning. And those accents we are going to paint with bronze. So very similar to dark silver from Pro Acryl. I'm a huge fan of bronze, also from Pro Acryl. Just put some on my palette. You'll see why in a minute. It's a great color. I'm not really a big fan of gold, so I tend to substitute bronze a lot. So instead of silver and gold, I do like silver and bronze. This as a trim around the armor. Oh man. Gold would be useless for armor anyway. That's true. That is very true. I mean, I'd imagine that royalty and armor would still gold plate everything just because. And I believe Adelbern is a knight. I know Irene is a knight. I assume Adelbern is as well. I don't have this card on me, so it's the only reason I don't know off the top of my head. What do you think so far? Carpal tunnel's flaring up like a son of a biscuit. I'm losing my my ability to do this here. It looks great. Take a break. Yes. Good idea. Although a lot of the bears are in the other room. I have a couple bears next to me, but I also started doing so I have like a little painting booth in the other room on top of my little mini fridge, and I keep it in there because it's not the most aesthetically pleasing thing to look at, and my room is pretty, so I put the ugly stuff in the other room. Anyway, and I just finished the Harpoon Boys like last week, and I knew that I was going to be doing this soon, so I kind of left everybody in the photo booth so that when I was done with this one I could just carry it over there. But then right before the stream I was like, oh man, I need to have some of these bears on hand so I can look at them and, you know, show everybody what I'm referencing, etc. And so I just grabbed a couple, and the rest are in there. But I can show off what I have done, or what I do have. I could also just not be lazy and go in the other room and get them and bring them back in here. But with only about 20 minutes left in the stream, I figure we'll just use what we got. And I also want to be somewhat done with this. part right there will look super cool once I put the wash on there. It looks so good.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
I wasn't talking to her. I said looks so good, and she thought that I said her name. Woo! Dropped it. Move this guy out of the way here. He's got little earrings. Mentioned a solid internet base for the game. If you had figures that were missing their cards, how hard would it be to find the stats? So for the Renegade stuff, so the new things that Renegade has released, all of those cards, so all of the stat cards for those characters, are all free on Renegade's website. So if you go to like shop, and then you go to the thing that you're buying or the thing you're looking at. Their stat card is in one of the photos under the item listing, and that's true. So far as I know, that's true for every Age of Annihilation character. The stuff that Renegades put out. As far as Classic, there's a forum. Heroscaper. Is it heroscapers.com? Might be heroscapers.com. And there's databases there as well with the stats for all the characters, period, including the Renegade stuff. Big database of all the stats. So yes, I could just go on the internet and look it up while we are sitting here, as opposed to going in the other room and getting the card. Well, it's actually not in the other room, it's across this room. But alright, so I have accented all of the bronze that I am going to accent. So what else? What's next? What do we got left here? I could do the eyes and the face and all that next, but oh, you know what? I'm gonna grab the Rhinox hide. That's for our leather strap. There's only one. Well, actually, let's grab the white first, because I'm going to block out this. Grabbing some of that Althuan gray. I'm just going to go over this strap right here. We're going to just make this strap look like it's part of the fur. Because that might not actually even be a strap. I might be imagining that as a strap. It might not actually be a strap. Now let's look at this wide strap here. Let's see if we can thin it down. You just give the illusion that the strap's not really there. Kind of redo some of the Althuan gray there. So this thing right here, I think I want this to glow like with energy. So I think this I think I'm gonna paint all white, and we're gonna make this thing kind of like glow. Not like glow in the dark, which I could do. we let that white dry, I'm gonna go ahead and do the pants like I had originally said, and then we'll do everything else, and then it'll be done for now. Oh, the leather strap. I was like, oh, I'm forgetting something. This is Rhinox hide. It's like a reddish brown. Really nice for leather straps. It's like my go-to. I also noticed while I was prepping this stream that Knight Irene also has a leather strap that is that I didn't paint. Seen a part right there that doesn't have any. The white doesn't have. The fur doesn't have any white, right? Back over here. While I let that dry. Here's a little bundle of joy right here. This Army Painter soft tone works like magic. It like it's hard to explain. It just does such a great job of putting a brown tint on things that you can take different colors, throw the brown tint on it, and make it something different. So like here we have these pants, right? Look how nice and gray said pants are. And we're gonna take some of this soft tone here, and we're gonna just put it on like a wash, because that's what it is. And I am gonna put it on this brown, or on this blue, but I don't really want it on the blue, so I'm gonna paint over it at some point. But just kind of watch what it does to those gray pants. It reminds me of like what you would do if like you were staining something with like tea or coffee. That's kind of the vibes that I get from using this stuff. It's like tinting, yeah, like weathering something, like a cosplay piece or something like that, using like old coffee grounds or old tea bags. It gives it like a nice weathered look. And if you did this over metal too, it would give it like a dirty, almost like a rusted color. It's pretty nice. Like, had I not done all of the other... I kind of did it on Knight Irene's armor. But I didn't do it on the others, so I'm not going to do it on this guy. So now I'm just kind of like going around and picking up the spots where it was too much. Like back here. Now look at our gray pants. The only thing that I dislike about this stuff is that it kind of smells bad. Like, very chemically. That is the one downside to it that I really dislike, is it does make it difficult to work with for extended periods of time. Look at them pants. Our gray pants are now dirty, worn gray pants. And yeah, like I said, if you wanted to give your armor pieces like a rusty, you know, old and worn, just throw that on there too. Like, I would totally do it. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can show you Knight Irene. Although I kind of made hers less. Well, you can see her pants. Her pants are the same because that's the recipe that I used. So make their pants similar. Yeah, and then if we want to do highlights, we can go... I'll just do a quick one real quick so you guys can see, because we are out of time. So let me go back to that Celestial Gray, which was the base color of the pants. And then I can just do like some highlight lines. Makes like nice folds in the pants. Yeah, just don't do that. Don't do what I just did, please. That was bad. I'm being a little too generous with my... We'll see how this looks when it's all dry. I don't know if I like it. I kind of went a little too heavy there on the Huh. I might as well just paint them all over again and then start from the beginning. I might do that. Anyway. You get the idea. Alright, we're gonna have to make this a two-parter. It took a long time. But if we don't make a two-parter, and you've gotten to this point and you're like, really, Louie? Why did you get us this far and then stop? I'll explain to you what I would do next. So, the end goal objective is to get him to look as cool as her. So to do that, the next step would be to take our friend, Nolan Oil, who I need more of. You're going to put this over the entire miniature, okay? This stuff is like magic. It's like magic juice. So you shake this up, you brush it on liberally all over. It's going to come out, it's going to be dirty. And you're going to just highlight everything back up. So you already have the bones of what it is that you're doing there, right? So I followed the same steps all along. The whole how I did this is how I did this, if that makes sense. Except I didn't screw up the pants on this one. I will fix that pant. So yeah, wash over the whole thing, and then you're just gonna start picking out your details again. For me, it was I hand painted each piece of fur. You don't have to do that. You could dry brush the fur back on, and then you're gonna highlight all the metallic parts. For this guy, I did like a rusted, weathered effect on his backpack. Again, I'm taking liberties, right? So for me, with these paladins, they have these gauntlets which receive some kind of hydraulic pressure from this tank here. And my train of thought is if this thing is just pumping out whatever it needs to in order to make the gauntlet work, it would be dirty, grimy. The rest of his armor might be a little shiny, but this backpack would be pretty gritty. So I don't know if it really fits the mini. Some people might go, it doesn't really fit the mini. And part of me thought that too. Part of me kind of still thinks it, but I really had a hard time deciding what I wanted to do with the backpacks. And this is just kind of what happened. That's just kind of what I came up with. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And then these guys here, these guys turned out just so good. Did some rusted effect on the harpoons. You get that nice bright blue that, really just pops. And then you have those leather straps. It's the same technique that I started showing you with Adelbern, and then of course we have Irene. Same principle. Everything done exactly the same. Obviously, just now we're at the step of needing to put that whole wash on, which would take a while. So we ran out of time for that. So hopefully you enjoyed this. This is ready for the table. You're ready to throw down. Just draw some eyes on there. He's totally ready. If you want to see more of him and how he will turn out, like I said, go check out that Instagram at The Real Daddy Louie. Make sure that you follow that. Huge help to me, and you're also going to see all of these minis that I paint. Definitely going to get Adelbern done here pretty soon. I'm also painting this guy. I can't remember, Savaris. Yeah, so this is Savaris, the elf archer. This is a repaint, so this is the original Scape mini. I believe this came out with Rise of the Valkyrie, the very first starter set back in the day. And I'm doing a repaint as a door prize for one of our next local events. So, if you're in the New England area, check out our Discord and find out when the next event is, and you'll probably see Savaris there as a prize. yeah. So thank you, as always, to Renegade for having me on these streams. You could do anything else. You could be anywhere else. And you chose to be here and hang out with me, which I really appreciate. Yeah, I think that's it. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Play your games. Paint your miniatures. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Oh, click the right button.